You can't drink alcohol legally at 18, but you can sign a piece of paper making you a lifetime debt slave. How is that rational? And we're back. Mike Cernovich, Cernovich.com. For real, how is it rational, boomers? The boomers are going to come in here. The boomers are going to come into the chat. They took out the deal. They took out the deal. The boomers are going to come and be angry. The boomers are going to be fired up. Oh, you signed the contract. They want free money. They want free this, right? Of course, when boomers were in college, you could work for a summer and pay for tuition with nothing, right? Work a summer, pay your tuition. But then once boomers took over the higher education system, they jacked up tuition, gave themselves tenure. So we got a problem here, people. We have a problem. And the problem is that we have an entire generation of people who are debt slaves and they have no hope. They feel depressed. They feel anxious because money is a very, very stressful problem people have. And money problems to know how are they ever going to pay this back, right? How are they ever going to pay this back, right? This is a real sort of thing. And I'm going to tell you why they should be able to do it. So first of all, the whole idea that will they borrow the money is a non-starter, okay? Student loan debt is non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. You can default on your mortgage for a home. You can plead bankruptcy for credit card debt. You can plead bankruptcy for a business loan. Student loan debt is the only form of debt that you can't discharge in bankruptcy. So people going, oh, well, they took out the loans. Yeah, you can plead bankruptcy for anything else but student loan debt. And they took out the loans when they were like 18, okay? So that's just a non-starter. If you claim they shouldn't be able to plead bankruptcy because they took the money out, why should we no bankruptcy for anybody, right? No business bankruptcy. So if you start a business and the business fails, you can't plead bankruptcy. You're just going to be a debt slave for the rest of your life. Is that the world you want to live in? Is that the world everybody's a debt slave to a few banks because nobody can file for bankruptcy? So you're just an idiot if you say, well, they took the money out. Yeah, okay. Well, then why doesn't that apply to any other type of debt, any other category of debt? Why is student loan debt a special privileged category of debt that you can't file for bankruptcy on, right? It's just not even logical. And then second, they go, oh, well, they took the money out. Yeah, because the boomers told them to. It's to me just fascinating that you're indoctrinating people their entire lives, telling them you must go to college, you must go to college, you must go to college, borrow money, you'll be able to pay it back. That's the entire societal conditioning and programming. And then when the kids listen and they graduate and they're hopeless, well, it's not our fault. Take personal responsibility. So let's talk about why take personal responsibility is BS. Why don't you boomers who told the kids to borrow the money and you made cheap lending available, why don't you take personal responsibility for conning an entire generation? It's funny how with the boomers, personal responsibility is only a one-way ratchet. These kids better take personal responsibility for signing documents they didn't understand that we told them to sign. We told them to sign it. We told them their entire lives to sign it. Those kids, man, they don't want to take any personal. Well, once the boomers take personal responsibility for indoctrinating and brainwashing the entire generation, telling them you have to go to college, right? Now, people will say, well, there's gender. Sure, of course we know there's a lot of BS. Of course we know there's a lot of BS. You know why there's so much BS in the college education system? Do you know why there's so much gender studies and postmodern crap in colleges and universities? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know why. Because of student loan debt. Because of easy, cheap money was made available to 18-year-olds. And so the colleges said, well, the kids are getting free money. They were removed from any kind of market demand because they have free, cheap money and a whole generation of rubes who've been indoctrinated by boomers to go to college. So then they could just fund any kind of dumb program they wanted. So if you think higher education is a left-wing indoctrination factory, then you would see really why I support student loan debt reform. It would crush these scam universities, right? So you're not even smart. You can't even think strategically like Cernovich. If you think strategically like Cernovich, you would say, well, what's the best way that we do away with these left-wing indoctrination factories? Well, we cut off their supply of easy money. Because if you allow students to plead bankruptcy, the interest rates on the loans are going to go up because of the default risk. See, most people don't even know what the default risk is. They're saying, oh, if you want to have a conversation with Mike Cernovich about student loan debt reform, talk to me about interest rates and default risk and how that would affect college tuition. Well, I'll tell you right now. If students can file bankruptcy for student loan debt, the interest rates will go up because now there's a real default risk, which means less free money will go to 17 to 18-year-olds, which means college tuitions will not rise because they'll have to actually respond to the market. It also means they'll have to cut all the BS that they're teaching that doesn't have a market return at the universities. See, this is how Cernovich thinks about the world, by the way. This is how Cernovich thinks about the world is, I'm finding economic populist issues that resonate widely and that also defeat the far left, right? So student loan bankruptcy reform, no free university because that makes the problem worse. Why do you think Bernie wants to give people free college? More brainwashing. So Bernie wants to give people free college to brainwash more people. Cernovich wants to make it so that students can be free of debt slavery, and also because it'll harm the far left-wing institutions. See? This is how you got to think about life, people. This is how Cernovich thinks about life. Economic populist issues that help a lot of people, that resonate with the generation, and that also defeat the cultural evil people, the people trying to destroy America, the anti-American elements with higher ed. So if you don't support bankruptcy reform for student loan debt, you support the far left. You support all these college programs that indoctrinate people. You support censoring free speech because you want to keep giving colleges and universities unlimited easy money, unlimited free money. I don't. Mike Cernovich 2020 will take away the free money that these far left-wing brainwashing factories receive. Mike Cernovich 2020 will demand student loan debt reform. If you have college debt and you can't pay it off, you should be able to file for bankruptcy. You can for any other type of debt. There's no logical argument against student loan debt reform. Cernovich 2020, you're going to hear a lot more about Cernovich 2020. You're going to hear about winning issues. Not this people crying on Twitter all day because they're being treated unfairly. We're pushing the ball downfield. Moving it forward, student loan debt reform, we're going to make it happen.